Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you back to the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and it's time for our Alabama Legends series, and it's presented by the Bryant Museum. Make sure you visit the Paul W. Bryant Museum on the campus of the University of Alabama when you're on your way to Bryant-Denny Stadium this week to watch Alabama against Mississippi State. When you look back at the history of Alabama against Mississippi State, really one name stands out above the rest. We go back to the mid-1980s when Bobby Humphrey was the running back for the Crimson Tide, one of the best running backs in Alabama history, and he joins us now on the phone. Bobby, roll tide. How's everything going for you?
Man, roll tide, and everything's going great. Everything's going great.
Does it bring back some good memories just hearing that it's almost time for Alabama against Mississippi State, because you had some really great games against the Bulldogs?
Man, I had some really good games when I was at Alabama against the Bulldogs. I can remember very vividly, not the 284-yard game, but the game in which I set the record for our rushing yards and had the opportunity to meet Johnny Musso, who somebody I idoled, and I kind of followed during his career at Alabama, and we ended up becoming close friends. And I can remember him being in the locker room and speaking. And, you know, after that ball game, it was a tough ball game, believe it or not. And it went all the way down to the wire, and it took a last minute score to actually put the game on ice there at Legion Field at the time, and back in 1987. So, yeah, it brings back a lot of memories when you're talking about Mississippi State versus Alabama.
Yeah, let's go back to 1986 and talk about the record-breaking performance, 284 yards for you in that ball game. Just what do you remember about some of those big runs you had, and were you tired by the end of that? I mean, that's a crazy, great night that you had rushing the football.
Oh, it was just an awesome night. Everything was clicking that game. The offense was going very well. The defense was playing well. The offensive line and they were opening up holes and paving the way. And man, I just was somewhat in a really, really good groove, man. I felt good. It was, you know, it was just, everything was just clicking. It's one of those games when everything just lined up, everything just lined up perfect. And the only thing you got to do is just hit the hole and run. And a lot of things worked out. Unfortunately, when the day was over with, I was about at 284 yards, which I didn't even realize that I had ran the ball. Had ran for that many yards, but it was a great victory. The team played well. It was really, really a good way of kind of rejuvenating ourselves from a big time loss the week before at home against Penn State. So that was a big ball game for us. I never will forget that one.
Certainly was a good one. You mentioned the game the next year on Halloween night, and it's funny enough, it's Alabama against Mississippi State coming up on Halloween this week, but that was such a good game for you as well. You mentioned Johnny Musso was there, and I'm sure the culmination of a dream, because you always wanted to be a player at Alabama, and then you get to do it, and then you become the best that's ever done it in terms of running the football. That had to be a proud night.
That was a really, really good night. Yeah, having the opportunity to meet Johnny Musso was historic within itself, man. It's just a dream come true. That was a night where, we weren't really playing our best football, but we just kind of, I should say we weren't playing our best football. I think Mississippi State was just playing off the charts. They were playing extremely well. And they had a great game plan together, and they really just took us all the way down to the wire. And we were able to just pull that thing out right there at the end. Now, one of the things I did have in that ball game was my longest actually touchdown run, which was, I think, maybe about like 85 yards or 80 yards, something like that. And but I tell you, now you're talking about a ball game where I really got tired. I got a little windy in that game because that 84-yard run was early in the ball game, man, and I had to go right over there to the sideline and get immediately hooked up to the oxygen.
Running uphill the rest of the day after something like that, right?
Yeah, that's right. That puts your stats numbers up pretty fast, pretty quickly, but boy, it sure does take a toll on you for another half.
I bet. Well, certainly a good memory from that. And when just overall, Bobby, when you look back at your Alabama career, what are you most proud of?
The thing I'm most proud of my Alabama career, man, is how we accomplished so many things as a team. You know, and you know, you think about, you know, what we did up under Perkins, you know, with playing in that '86 season and things we accomplished. You know, you think about that ball game, that season. You know, we played out of conference, Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M. You're talking about big time ball games. Them big time ball games you had to play against really, really big powerhouse teams. And then we cap it off with a Sun Bowl victory over Washington, which at the time Washington was the Pac-12 champs at that time. They had a really, really good football team. And you think about those kind of seasons, and it make you really, really feel proud and appreciative of what you was able to accomplish back in '86. You know, and with all of the things that happened, you know, in terms of adversity that we had to overcome off the field, like Willie Wiles passing and George Scruggs, who was also in that '85 freshman class that I came in with. And you go back and you look at those things and you say, man, we overcame a lot that '86 season. And those are the things I feel most proud of, is how we came together as a team and really just had each other back.
You certainly did, and you talk about being proud as well. I know we got to see you wear the number 26 during your playing days for Alabama, but then you get to watch your son Marlon get to wear the number 26. All-Pro Marlo, we now call him, with what he's doing with the Ravens. You got to be tremendously proud of that young man.
Oh yes, he's done extremely well, and is playing well. He's having a great year this year. It was just so pleasant to be able to go back and you know, as an alumni and a former player, and watch him run up and down the field in that same 26 jersey I wore when I was there. And boy, it's something to behold. And now he's kind of fulfilled the dream that he's always had of playing in the National Football League, and he's having that opportunity, and he's doing well. So it's something definitely that is kind of sticking his chest out and beating his chest and singing praises and thankful for what God has allowed him to accomplish. It's a proud moment for me.
We're certainly glad to hear that. And kind of as we wrap things up, what can you tell Alabama fans that you're up to these days?
Well, you know, now these days I'm a full-time banker. I work for Bryant Bank. I've been there for the past 8 years. I'm Vice President of Business Development and the Community Reinvestment Act officer. So that's what I help people do now, is to be able to help people be able to fulfill their dreams financially, and be able to help them achieve some of their goals that they want to achieve, you know, from a business standpoint. And it's been a joy come true to be able to work with the Bryant family and build a brand that really don't need to be explained and don't need to be, you know, promoted, because it is what it is when you talk about the Bryant name and what it stands for. And that's what I'm doing. And now that and just following children, and all of my kids have played sports at the collegiate level and the high school level, and we still got 2 left in college, and we got 1 in the NFL. And so I've been enjoying just kicking back and relaxing and waiting for game day on Saturday, or when the basketball season kick around, watching basketball and watching my daughter run truck at LSU. So I'm just enjoying life, man. That's all I'm doing.
Certainly glad to hear that. Well, Bobby, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, giving some great memories of the Alabama-Mississippi State series over the years, and just all the best to you and your family moving forward. But thank you again, and Roll Tide.
Thank you, and Roll Tide.
All right, that was Bobby Humphrey. Thank you for watching the Crimson Tide Sports Network.